Hello, friends, and welcome to the Biz Buzz again. I'm here with my partner in crime, Heather Smokum, and today we wanted to talk to you a little bit about planning, diving into that a little bit more. So, Heather, in one of our earlier sessions, we talked about the importance of going from a strategic vision into a strategy and then creating an actionable plan. So, help me understand from your perspective, why is planning important?
Oh my gosh, why isn't it important? I honestly, I am a planner to the nth degree. And for me, like from a personal perspective and even from a business perspective, if I don't have a plan in place, I get overwhelmed, right? You don't know what you need to do. You don't know when you need to do it. You don't know if you've hit a milestone or reached success because you can just be so overwhelmed and not getting anything done. So to me, like, having that plan really allows you to see step by step what are all the little ladder things that I need to do in order to accomplish my goal. So we can look at it from a business perspective or a personal perspective. Hey, we want to go on vacation. Well, we need a plan in order to get to that vacation. So those things are all so important in order to be able to help us reach our goal in life, in business, whatever that may look like.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And what I would say is the plan sets the path forward. It begins to put together those mile markers of how to get to that end goal, as you said, that vision that you're trying to accomplish, and what are those key things you need to do. So having the plan is sort of setting a path, right? Like if you're going on a road trip,
Yeah.
let's use that as an example, right? You want to leave Toronto and you want to get to Costa Rica,
Yes.
right? Driving,
Yeah.
not just flying, but you're driving. You need to set a route. You need to know where to stop, where you're going to do your overnight trips, where you're going to go get gas, right? And how long you're going to drive every day in order to reach Costa Rica by a certain time frame.
Yep. And also who's doing what, right? So there's that piece in there as well. So you have these steps, but also who's responsible for those steps.
Okay, Heather, so you started to talk about it a little bit. Elements of a good plan. So what would you say are good elements of a plan that would help to make that plan successful?
Well, ultimately, in my mind, is you need to know where you're going to go. So you had mentioned, that road trip. Where am I going to go? Where am I going to end up? But really, there's all the pieces of who's responsible for what action. What does success look like? Hey, like if we do this action, have we completed it or have we incompleted it? So I think that success measure of, getting it done, but also the resource, right? What else do we need in that step or in that action in order to help us be successful? So is it money? Is it a map? Is it, a tech person? Is it like, what is the resource that's required there? So I think, through each step and each milestone, you need to identify the resources, the key activities, what the success measures are, and how that links to the next step, right? We're going to see how every step links in order to get us to our goal.
Agree. I mean, I would also add there's certain steps that can be done in parallel.
Good
So
point. Hmm.
using the road trip, you can be driving and eat at the same time. You can't drive and sleep at the same time. One person might be able to, but the person driving should not be sleeping. But
Touche.
there are activities that you should be able to do in parallel, and there are certain ones that need to be sequenced. And some activities must be completed before the next one can start, and some of them can run somewhat in parallel, but one has to be completed before the other one has to be completed as well. Understanding the set of activities we need to do, what are the key dates, when do they need to be done by, how can they be sequenced, who needs to do what, is everybody clear on what their roles are? Because if you're not, it could lead to either too many people trying to do the same thing, or everybody thinking, I thought you were doing it. No, I thought you were doing it.
Yes.
And then you end up with that old Abbott and Costello, joke, which is who's on first, what's on second, right?
Yep.
So those things are really critical and important to know in terms of having a good plan together.
And one other thing I can add to that is there someone overall responsible for the plan? because that point, whether it's a project manager or whether it's the manager of that department, whatever that looks like, who is holding people accountable, right? And also, how are we tracking this? So in small businesses, for us, we really are proponents of, a project management tool. So implementing, we use ClickUp, Asana, like all these tools that help us assign, delegate, oversee, get feedback to just really help manage that plan as well.
Absolutely. Listen, in some cases, Excel works just as well. I just want to let you know that, right? So if people think you got to go out and buy software, sometimes an Excel spreadsheet with here's the activity, here's who's doing it, here's when you need to start it, here's when you need to finish it,
Yep.
and an indicator of whether it's started, in progress, or completed
Yes.
is just as good. All
Oh,
right.
side note, on some of these tools now, Google Sheets, for example, they're actually letting you like build in alerts. So you'll actually get an email when a due date is due. So now it's acting more like a project management tool. So ding, ding, ding.
Fantastic stuff. I feel you're getting some commissions from Google for advertising. Okay, so Heather, let's talk about when a plan goes sideways because something always happens, and the best plans it goes to heck.
Yes.
So how does one recover from that, and maybe even tie that back to why bother having a plan in the first place if something's going to go sideways?
Yeah. Yeah. So I loved your idea of a road trip, right? We're making a road trip and we get lost. Crap, we're lost. Now what do we do? Right? We know where we need to be and we've gone off track. So, really, I think my opinion is reviewing how we got off track. Where did we make a wrong turn and how do we veer back to our plan? So, there are tools when you're on a roadmap or a road trip to, bring out your Google, backtrack to where you were. So there's lots of different tools from a road map or a road trip perspective on how to get back. But I think that's what your plan is. Your plan is really your guide as to where we want to be. But again, things can throw us off and plans can change, right? So we know from a corporate perspective, leaders can make a change. They can come up with a different thought pattern. We need to make sure that that new plan is really aligned with our goal. So do we really need to change our path because a boulder fell in the front of our road and now we can't even get to where we go? We have to be agile, right? We can't plan for everything, but now we need to just find another approach. Is it we're still aiming for the same goal and the same destination, or has that destination changed? And if it's changed, why has it changed? And how does that impact the rest of the plan? So again, things are going to change. We need to be agile and able to go with the flow in some cases.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think I like you phrasing the plan as being a guide because things will change and you do have to be agile to your point of view. And I think the thing of having the plan in the first place is it will help you to troubleshoot where you went off track.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can figure out where you went off track, if the plan has not changed because leadership hasn't come and thrown a monkey wrench into things,
Mm-hmm.
then you're able to quickly repivot
Yes.
because then you kind of know where you need to get back on, right? Without having that plan, it's kind of hard to figure out, well, I'm here now and I don't know where I'm going and I don't know what my next step should be.
Yeah.
Therefore, figuring that out on the spot takes more time, takes more effort. Not to
Yes.
say you wouldn't do it, but it may take a lot more time for us to get there. Having the plan in the first place kind of gives you that ability to rethink things and fit it into that plan or adjust the plan as needed.
Yeah. And the great thing is too, you can already see what you've completed, right? So yes, we've already done all these awesome things towards this goal. So whether we're going to Costa Rica or we're going to, Coachella, we've already done these things, right? So I already rented the car. I already know how much I'm spending on gas, like just examples of that. So then it does make the path forward a little more clear because you know what you've already done.
Agreed.
Yep.
One way to be able to celebrate some of those successes that you've got along the way.
Yes.
Because many times when you're doing an initiative, when you get stuck, we focus on the getting stuck part, or we don't focus on, or we do not recognize the places where we have made success and progress.
Mhm.
And so having that and being able to identify those are also important.
Right. Celebrate the wins.
All right. So
Yep.
planning. It's an important thing and it helps set a guide or a path forward. It helps us understand what tasks we need to do, who needs to do it, when we need to do it, how much we can budget for it in some cases, what can be done in sequence and what can be done in parallel. And if something goes wrong, it acts as a good measure for us to one, identify what we've done successfully to date, but two, to really assess where we need to pivot to get back on track,
Yep.
or to adjust the plan if our goals have changed.
Yep. And for me, it's just a great way to reduce overwhelm, right? Break it down.
100%. That's a really good point.
Break it down into little consumable pieces and actions, and then move forward. And it might take you a little bit longer, but it might make you more efficient. So it will really help get rid of the overwhelm for you and your teams.
Yes, absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. Fantastic. Thank you, Heather.
Thanks,
Talk
Sean.
to you on the next one.
Talk to you
Keep the
soon.
buzz going.
Keep the buzz going.